From one citizen to another, let's remember something together. February 23rd, 2022, the day Canada's Emergencies Act was revoked, ending one of the most extraordinary political moments in our modern history. Just weeks earlier, truckers and supporters had driven across the country towards Ottawa. What began as opposition to vaccine mandates grew into something larger, a national protest about pandemic restrictions, government overreach, and whether ordinary citizens were still being heard. The convoy stretched from east to west. Many highway overpasses were filled with patriotic Canadians waving flags in the bitter winter air. I myself attended support rallies in Toronto. I wanted to see what the media called alt-right. What I saw were families, workers, and concerned citizens who believed they were standing up for fundamental freedoms. The movement quickly became polarizing. Canada was watching the same event through completely different lenses. Supporters saw a peaceful grassroots uprising. Critics saw disruption and occupation. On February 14, 2022, the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canadian history. Under those powers, financial institutions were directed to freeze accounts of Canadians who were supporting the protests. Hundreds of ordinary Canadians temporarily lost their access to bank accounts, affecting their ability to pay bills, run businesses, and meet everyday obligations. For many, the consequences extended well beyond the 9 days of the emergency powers. The protests were cleared days later, and then on February 23rd, the Emergencies Act was ended. Years later, the federal courts ruled the use of the Emergencies Act was unjustified and illegal, a decision still debated, but one that underscores how extraordinary that moment truly was. In the months that followed, pandemic restrictions across Canada came to an end. 4 years later, the Freedom Convoy remains one of the most contested chapters in recent Canadian history, not because Canadians disagree about what happened, but because we disagree what it actually meant for our freedom and democracy. History is watching.